Welcome to this week's edition of The Blitz. On today's show, we will be looking back at our battle against Michigan and looking ahead to our next opponent, the Buffalo Bulls. Safeties coach Shane Fogarty and his standout, Ty-Meer Brown, will be on the show, along with college football analyst Sean Mulcahy. So thanks for tuning in. And now, The Blitz. I have Sean Mulcahy here with me now. Week 4 of The Blitz, you certainly are making that chair your home.
Very comfortable. Thank you for having me again.
Well, we are loving having you on The Blitz this season. Now, the Huskies are just coming off of that loss to Michigan, a heartbreaker. They got down early, 7-0, but scored the next 3 touchdowns and were up 21-7, but just couldn't finish it out. But it was probably the most complete game that we've seen out of the Huskies so far. What was your take on that game?
I thought the team moved in the right direction. You know, we can't pat them on the back too much because it was still a loss, but either way, they're headed in the right direction coming off the losses from Maryland and Towson. This week you look at Buffalo, it gives them a good opportunity to really get a W in that column. But overall, from the game, I saw so much leadership that we didn't see in the first 2 games on both sides of the ball. I thought Chandler Whitmer was more vocal than I'd ever seen him. You know, he was getting his team all jacked up. Yawan Smallwood did a great job. Shamar Stephan did a great job. And even Byron Jones. I mean, there were players who were really into this game. And that's the way you got to play this game, with emotion, a lot of leadership, a lot of toughness. And I thought that was really good for the team.
Looking closer at the offense here, the stat that really stands out is 84 rushing yards on 25 carries. Chandler did throw for 149 yards, notched 2 touchdowns, but had that costly interception into triple coverage that we just couldn't recover from. What was your take on the offense this week?
I thought they improved in certain areas, but not together as a whole. Getting back to that interception we're talking about, you know, he was open for a brief second. But what happened was the name of the game is speed, and these defensive backs, linebackers converted on the ball when Chandler started to wind up. They broke right away. So as he released it, that's when the triple coverage came into play. So it's tough to make that read as a quarterback, and that's why it's such a difficult position. But he's getting better, and what also didn't help Chandler in certain situations were a couple dropped balls and not having Shaquem Phillips on the other side. Now, I'll give credit to Deshaun Fox and Jeremy Davis. They did a good job stepping up, same with McQuinlan and Parker. But you still need that 1-2 punch of Phillips and Davis, and that kind of limited Chandler Whitmer.
And defensively, we saw those Huskies that we all remember, 10 tackles for a loss, 4 turnovers, and finally our first 3 sacks of the season. And at a certain point in the second and third quarter, it seemed like Michigan's offense was barely on the field. How impactful was that defense against Michigan?
Oh, it's huge. It's a complete momentum swing for both sides. I mean, you're going to demoralize Michigan, and then you're going to pump up UConn. And that's how UConn has traditionally played defense, especially with Hank Hughes being here 12 years, whether he's the D-line coach or defensive coordinator. This is how this team plays. They do a great job of swarming to the ball. All areas of defense, defensive line, linebacking core, and defensive back secondary did a great job. They were causing turnovers. They were getting around the ball. They were blitzing from the boundary and from the field. They were mixing up coverages. It was a great defensive play. You know, a lot of times they were stuck on a short field, so they didn't have much to play with, which gave an advantage to Michigan. But with the way the UConn defenses have been playing right now, I'd be very surprised if the Bulls can move the ball effectively throughout the game.
And this game featured a lot of new guys stepping up. You had Javon William and Tyree Clark in the secondary, Xavier Hemingway, Dalton Gifford on the O-line, Jefferson Ashuru came in at linebacker. And how about Spencer Parker scoring his very first touchdown on national TV? Kind of a big game for these guys to be thrown into.
Yeah, that was very impressive by all these young guys. And this is what you want. This is what you expect, and this is what you train for and practice for. This is what it's all about. You know, you don't just go on a team to sit on the sidelines and cheer. But these guys did a good job. I was very impressed with Jefferson Ashuru, Spencer Parker. I will say on the bootleg in the third quarter that he dropped was right in his hands. He was looking downfield, but that could have been a huge momentum swing for the offense to keep them on the field and the Michigan offense off the field while resting our defense. It would have been a 1st and 10, getting the ball around the 50-yard line, and then if you had to punt the next down, you would have put them in, hopefully between the 20-yard line. But those guys did a really good job. All in all, they're growing and they're learning and they're headed in the right direction.
And you mentioned earlier that electrifying crowd that we had at Rentschler Field on Saturday night. Let's get back to that a little bit. A record-breaking crowd. We had some Husky greats on the field like Ray Allen, Kemba Walker, and some other stars. The captain, not you, Sean, but Derek Jeter in the house. How amazing and fun was that night in Rentschler? I
was lucky enough to be on the field and also all the way at the top of the stadium. It was incredible. It reminded me of the first game against Indiana 10 years ago. The fans were amazing. You know, the atmosphere, the lights, the camera crews were great. The field was a little suspect, but it was almost all a wasted effort because we ended up not winning. But either way, that's what you want out of college football. That's the experience that the fans want. That's the experience the players want, the coaches want. It was so incredible. I hope there's more opportunities like that against bigger schools and night games, because if you have an atmosphere like that, you have a better chance of winning with that home field advantage.
Well, I know we all would love to have that kind of atmosphere every night. We need that from the fans. Thanks so much for joining us, Sean. We'll see you a little bit later in the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
All right, now let's take a look back at highlights from UConn versus Michigan.
Devin Gardner wearing number 98. Has time all day. Throws over the middle. Through the hands of the receiver and intercepted. Javon Williams with the deflection at the Connecticut 23. Here's the handoff. Now Gardner fakes it, spins away from Smallwood. He's being chased, and he's going to be dragged down back inside his own 20. Ty-Meer Brown. And Gallen split left. Gardner rolls the pocket right, looks upfield, hit and sacked by Reuben Frank. Whitmer out of the gun, takes the snap, a delayed blitz, throws it upfield for Davis. He's got it at the 25, grabbed and falls forward to the 21. 1st and 10 out of the gun. They give it to DiLorenzo. Big hole off the left side, back to the 15, to the 10, down to the 9. Whitmer under center, 3rd and goal from the 11. Straight drop, looks over the middle, touchdown! Touchdown, Spencer Parker! Gardner play action, looking to throw. Pass time, loops it upfield for Chesson, and it's intercepted by Byron Jones at the 25. A spectacular play. Wagner kicks the football away. It's a beautiful high spiraling kick. Delio will let it bounce and takes the UConn roll. It hits a Michigan player. And I think the Huskies have it, you betcha. 2 tight ends to the left. Whitmer looking to throw. Looks, throws left. McCombs, touchdown, Connecticut. Gardner is going to keep it. Fumbles the football. It's picked up by Ty-Meer Brown, and there's nobody in front of him. Touchdown, Connecticut.
It is time now for Coach's Corner. I am joined by Safeties coach Shane Fogarty. Thanks for being on the show today.
You're welcome. Very excited to be here.
Well, we all are very excited to have you back in Husky Blue as a former quarterback here, then a defensive graduate assistant for 2 years. You took a short stint at Fordham for a season and now back this summer to take on the safeties position. How excited are you to be back coaching at your alma mater?
It's very exciting. It's a great opportunity. You know, coming here as a player, being here in stores. I love the atmosphere. It's a great school, great university with a very good reputation. So obviously when Coach Pasqualoni approached me about coming back, you know, obviously very, very excited.
And you have a background in defense, taking over the safeties position, but you did spend last year at Fordham coaching the tight ends. How has that perspective, that offensive side, given you a different perspective on coaching the safeties this year?
I've been very fortunate to coach a few different positions. I played quarterback, so I have that sort of background. I've worked with wide receivers. I've worked with running backs. Coaching on the offensive side of the ball gives me a great perspective as to how you're going to be attacked on defense. So in bringing that into my meeting room, I can then tell the safeties, this is what the quarterback's approach is. These are the pass concepts that you'll be attacked with, and sort of give them a better idea of what's coming at them.
Well, your guys certainly showed up this past weekend against Michigan. Ty-Meer and Obi combined for 15 tackles and 2 fumble recoveries. They really shut down Devin Gardner's passing, allowing just 97 yards. How proud were you of those guys this weekend?
I think it's a defense as a whole. I mean, I truly believe that, you know, without the defensive line, without the linebackers, without the corners, you know, we couldn't have been successful. And I think we really, Coach Perkins and I and Coach Hooley and Coach Hughes, and you know, really put forth great effort all week to get our guys to understand exactly what was going to happen, you know, visualize what they were going to do, And as a group, I think, you know, it was attention to detail. We focused in, and you know, it showed on the game field on Saturday.
And in your crew, you have a very young group of guys, 5 freshmen and sophomores, and just 1 junior in Ty-Meer. What kind of athletes do you have in that group, and what kind of fun do you get to have coaching a younger group?
It's certainly interesting. Every time you walk into the meeting room, their focus is on something completely different than football at some points. But I think Ty-Meer brings stability. He's a focused individual. He was acknowledged by the strength staff for, you know, his effort and execution in the weight room every single day. And with the younger guys, you know, it is exciting. There is a group that has fun, enjoys being out there, and I certainly enjoy coaching them.
All right, let's touch on Buffalo a little bit here now. They average about 230 passing yards per game, and Alex Newts is their go-to receiver. What do you know about Buffalo that you're looking to shut down?
I think they do a very good job in their vertical passing game. I think they have deep threats. You can see they will drop back and throw the ball deep to their outside receivers. You know, you can see it on film versus Ohio State. You can see it on film versus Baylor. So I think we have to be prepared for that. We have to be prepared for, you know, every opponent running the same type of schemes and concepts that somebody did in the weeks prior. So I think we just have to continue to work hard and continue to prepare.
Well, I know these Huskies are ready to get win number 1, so we will be looking forward to that this weekend. Thanks so much for joining us on the show today, Shane.
All right, thank you very much.
All right, now let's head out to campus for Know Your Foe. For this week's Know Your Foe, we are here on UConn's campus in front of the Homer Babbage Library to stop people and find out how much they know about our next opponent, the Buffalo Bulls. First question, do you know who the football team is playing this weekend?
Yeah, I believe it's Buffalo. We are playing Buffalo.
Buffalo. Buffalo?
Buffalo.
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 Do you know their mascot?
Bison, maybe?
A buffalo, I think.
A bull. I think it's just like a really overweight guy. You know, it's a badly fitting T-shirt.
A buffalo, maybe?
Bison, I don't know.
Okay, they used to be the Bison up until 1930.
It's a bull.
What are their colors?
Blue and orange.
Orange and blue.
Blue and silver. I believe they're blue, gold, white.
Take out one of them.
Blue, gold, blue, white.
Blue and red.
Half right. First one is right.
White, blue and white.
Do you know what their colors are?
A bull. No, maybe red.
Okay, do you know what conference they play for?
No.
No, I don't. No.
I have no idea. Not at all. I'm terrible with sports.
What would you say that the city of Buffalo is best known for?
Snow.
Maybe the Bills for being cold, losing.
Buffalo is best known for the city, being cold, being in the middle of nowhere, being close to Canada, poor football team, diehard fans.
Post-industrial decline and excellent chicken wings.
Okay, I'm sure they'd appreciate the second more than the first.
Snow. Definitely snow.
Their sports teams, the football team, NFL football team.
Well, I've heard of their snow and I've heard of their wind, and you know, I like buffalo wings, but I don't know if that's the origin.
It actually is.
Oh, hey, I got one thing right.
What national landmark is just 20 miles away from Buffalo's campus?
Niagara Falls. Yeah.
No idea. I've never been to Buffalo. I might sound like a complete, but Yellowstone?
Niagara Falls.
The border.
I don't know. That's also a good question.
Thank you. People tend to go over it in barrels.
In barrels? What?
Starts with an N.
The Niagara Falls?
Yes.
People go off that in barrels?
One guy did. He survived.
Oh dear.
What national landmark is just about 20 minutes off
Niagara
of...
Falls. Niagara Falls? Okay, got it.
I didn't even get to finish my question. You were so excited about it.
Sorry, I've been sitting on that one.
Oh my goodness, this is terrible. I need to go to the library and study after this interview.
What would you guess is the average snowfall that Buffalo gets every year?
At least like 3 feet.
4 feet.
Double it.
8 feet.
That's correct. Would you want to live there?
Yes, I like the snow.
Let me see, 42 inches of snow.
Even more, like more than double that.
96.
That's exactly it, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Say between 15 and 30 feet.
Well, I'm assuming it's going to be more than Connecticut, so I'm going to go ahead and say 5 feet.
It's actually almost 8 feet a year.
Oh, that's very impressive. Okay, I'm glad I don't live there.
I guess it'd be like 8 feet.
That's exactly what it is.
I went to school in upstate New York, so I'm familiar with how miserable their winters are, and they're utterly miserable.
Total snowfall, 57 inches.
Oh, that's pretty close. It's actually 96 inches, 8 feet.
That's crazy.
Would you want to go to school there?
No.
We have safety Ty-Meer Brown on the show with us now. Welcome to the show, Ty-Meer. How would you fare in 8 feet of snow every year?
8 feet of snow, I don't think I like that too much.
Yeah, I don't think I would either. Now, you had one heck of a game on Saturday night. 8 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and of course, that scoop and score that gave the Huskies the biggest lead of the night. How happy were you with your performance that night?
It was a great performance, and I felt good playing in front of a large crowd like that, with the largest crowd that UConn's seen, and it felt great.
And like you said, record-breaking crowd, so much energy. I know it was a loss, but how much fun was it to play in that kind of an atmosphere?
It was great. I mean, I never played in front of the fans like that here in Connecticut, and it was a great feeling.
Now, Yawin said after the game that it just slipped away from you guys, that Michigan snuck away with the win. Did you feel like that was the case, that it just kind of slipped away from you guys?
Yeah, it definitely was. I mean, a few mistakes here, a few mistakes there determined the whole game, and we let that one slip away.
Well, we saw that fight in you guys, but you still came up short. Now you're 0-3, and I know that it isn't easy for you guys to pinpoint exactly what went wrong, but when you look at the season so far, what can you narrow in on that you guys want to change and fix and focus on to move forward?
We just got to focus on the little mistakes, because every game it's a little thing that determines the whole game, and if we continue to eliminate the little mistakes, we'll eliminate the losses.
All right, next up you've got Buffalo. I know you've had some time to look at the film, that 5 overtime game that they just had against Stony Brook. A team that throws much more than they run. What do you, as the secondary, need to focus on against Buffalo?
We have a challenge coming into Buffalo, and we just got to focus on the route concepts and watching the film and getting the tendencies from the receivers.
All right, well, we know that you can defend the deep ball, but we've got a new challenge for you. We have a game that we like to call 3 and Out. How it works is I will ask you 3 questions about yourself. You give me the first answer that comes to mind, and then we'll do it again 3 and Out with your teammates. You ready to go?
I'm ready to go.
Okay, question 1. What is your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to karaoke song would have to be some Jay-Z song. I know all Jay-Z songs, so I'll have to go with a Jay-Z song.
Okay, very nice. What was your favorite TV show growing up?
The Rugrats, definitely.
That was a good one. That was a good one. If you could have one superpower, what would it be and why?
I would want to be able to fly. I mean, looking over everything up in the sky like a bird, that'll be great.
Okay, very cool. 3 and Out, the other side. Which teammate spends the most time getting ready before you go out?
Probably Shaq. Shaq I think he's a pretty boy. He's a pretty Madonna type of guy, so I'm going to have to go with Shaq.
Okay, interesting. If you were on a physical challenge TV show, which teammate would you most want to be your partner?
Probably Graham. Graham, he's always a high-level energy guy, and he's one of the strongest kids on our team, so I'm going to have to go with Graham.
Okay, I like it. Last week, your teammate Byron threw some jabs at you, so here's your chance to get him back. What is one thing that you want Husky fans to know about Byron Jones?
One thing the Husky fans need to know about Byron Jones is how he's so in love with his girlfriend. He's always posting Facebook pictures and seeing Instagram pictures with his girlfriend. He's so in love, but it's cute though. It's cute. So, yeah. Look at Byron. He's in love with Alicia.
Okay, well, you can't stop love, right?
You can't stop love.
Well, thank you so much for being here with us today. I know we're excited to see you guys travel for the first game of the season.
All right, thank you.
All right, fans, now let's head back to Mulcahy's matchup. We are back now with Mulcahy's matchup. Time to break down our next opponent, the Buffalo Bulls. They're 1-2 coming off of road losses to Ohio State and Baylor. They returned home and in a 5-overtime game beat Stony Brook. What are your impressions of Buffalo this season?
Well, they've always played us tough historically against UConn, so you know it's not going to be an easy game. Going into Buffalo will not be easy because the temperature will be a little bit lower. But getting back to their opponents, Stony Brook, even though they're an FCS team, they're really good. If you got a chance to see them against Syracuse last year, they almost put a whooping on Syracuse, but Syracuse came through and won the game. They have NFL players. You know, Buffalo has gone against really good teams. Baylor, you're talking about Ohio State, and now Stony Brook. So it's not going to be easy for UConn.
And linebacker Khalil Mack is a first-round level talent for Buffalo. He picked off Ohio State quarterback Braxton Miller for a touchdown. He's just a dominating presence on the field. What concerns you about his play and the overall defense?
A lot. He's a leader. He's sideline-to-sideline linebacker, very similar to C.O. Moore last year, but now more equivalent to a Yawin Smallwood. So hopefully you cancel out those X factors, but it's going to be exciting to see those guys play. You know, the offensive line needs to get better every week and get on top of Khalil Mack. And the running backs and tight ends, if they stay in on pass protection, really need to watch where this guy goes because he can rush the passer just as well as anyone. I mean, like you said, he's definitely first-round talent.
And over the last 3 years that we've played the Bulls, they've had 3 different quarterbacks. We'll see a new quarterback this year in Joe Licata. He's a young, relatively unexperienced quarterback. He averages 6 yards per pass. He's thrown 4 touchdowns on the season. How much does having a new quarterback each year affect the cohesiveness of a team?
Well, it affects both sides, the opponent and his own team. So there's no really continuity on either side. So the coach is playing against him, not sure what film to watch. They only have recent film, so they can't go back and study film since he's relatively new. The same goes for their team, the offense. They haven't been playing together as a unit for over a year. So, you know, there's still some growing pains. But, you know, you just mentioned Alex Zordich. He was a pretty good quarterback for them last year. So Joe Licata must be doing a lot of good things in order to push him down to the number 2 spot. So it's interesting to see how he does because with your stats, 6 yards per pass, he's obviously playing very conservative. 4 touchdowns in 3 games. You know, they're not spreading it around too much, so they're probably relying on the run game, screen passes, bubble passes, and short slants.
Overall, the 2 teams, the Huskies and the Bulls, have similar stats. Both teams average about 20 points per game. Both teams pass much more than they run. What do you think can set the Huskies apart in this game?
If they play defensively like they did against Michigan, it'll be a whole different ball game. You know, it'll set the 2 teams apart. UConn's defense was so dominating at times against Michigan where if they can get all 4 quarters together, it'll be tough for any opponent to do anything, you know, very significant against UConn. Their offenses at times can be conservative, but they can open it up with special players. So it'll be interesting to see what Buffalo does. You know, hopefully we get Shaquem Phillips back and spread the ball around a little bit more and take time off the clock so our defense isn't as exhausted as it would be through a long game.
Well, I know the Huskies are ready to get their very first road win, so it should be an interesting weekend. The Huskies will take on the Bulls Saturday, September 28th at 3:30 p.m. You can watch the game on ESPN3 or listen on WTIC News Talk 1080.
You can also support the team by taking a drive up to Buffalo, check out the Niagara Falls, or have some wings like I'm going to have certainly on that Saturday and enjoy the game.
Nice little road trip. Thanks for tuning into The Blitz. With Sean Mulcahy, I'm Emily Noonan for Huskies All Access. We'll see you out there.